Alright, so welcome to another video and another live audit of another Shopify store. Today we are going to be analyzing some of the SEO stuff for Wild Bill Western. Particularly, we're gonna focus on the keyword research and keyword mapping process and how that is essentially integral and foundational for like every SEO strategy, and how if you do not do this well, you're essentially not gonna be able to rank well, because from there you can set up the correct site taxonomy and site architecture. And if you don't do that well, you cannot expect a lot of traffic on your website. So why you should listen to me at all? I've been doing this stuff for 15 years. In the last couple of years, I only focused on Shopify SEO. This is my specialty. Like, this is what I do like every day. I've done this for multi-million-dollar brands, and while this is not everything for this particular website when it comes to SEO, it's gonna be very, very important. I'm gonna assume that if they actually fix what we are going to be talking about in today's video, they could like easily 10x, 20x their traffic and revenue, because this part is very, very essential to SEO. And if you do not do this part well, you cannot expect maximum results. So without any further ado, I just want to dive into the actual website, show like what I'm talking about, like what could they actually fix when it comes to the keyword research and mapping process, and how that's gonna drive all of the other changes. Also gonna show you like where they are in terms of like results, what are they doing well, and so on. So as always, I just wanna point out that my goal here isn't to like criticize them or put anybody down. Like, I think they're actually doing a pretty good job, and as far as I could see, like, they're having some amazing products. We can also clearly see on the website that they have like Ellie Holland actually like promoting their products, and it was a visitor at their store during the World Cup, which is essentially how I found this website. I just saw this news, went to the website, and was like, okay, my SEO brain kicked in and just saw a couple of things that I kind of didn't like, and decided to do the audit of their store for my next video. So this is how we actually ended up here. So yeah, let's just dive into. As you can see, it's a pretty normal and I would say even well designed but simple Shopify store. They are listing out products, some of the main categories like hats and boots, both for men and women. And they're leaning into this Holland thing, which is great. And what I also been able to see before we actually recorded this video, I just went through like 15-20 minutes of like just analyzing the website. What I was able to see is like they are leaning into this Holland promotion, which is great. And if we look at all of the links that they've gotten in like last 3 months, we can see that they got a lot of the coverage from the this Holland stuff. LA Times, this is gonna help a little bit. LA Times, Telegraph, CBC, all of these other type of news websites who cover this Holland thing. So that's obviously good, and they've managed to get some very, very interesting backlinks from that. So kudos for that. But so far we are not really seeing like a major like traffic uptick when it comes to search, happening from there, which is, I'm assuming, mainly because they're not doing this keyword research and mapping part right, and therefore they're not building their site taxonomy right. And that's what we're gonna focus on. So how did I come to this conclusion that they're not doing this right? Well, it's mostly because I'll analyze like thousands of different stores, so I can kind of clearly see that something is not necessarily being done well. And what I mean by that is, I usually start just by analyzing like the main navigation here at the top. That usually tells you like a lot of the SEO strategy. And just if you start going through the pages, you can see more of it, obviously. So I could conclude a lot just from looking at the navigation. So a couple things that I immediately didn't like and I immediately noticed as like an opportunity for them is just how little categories do they actually have. By that, I think the first and quite possibly the biggest opportunity for them is to try and build all of the branded pages for the product lines that they're carrying. So if I go into, let's say, women's cowboy boots in here, we can kind of see, which I don't know why a t-shirt is actually here, so there is something wrong with the filtering on the site. But we can see a lot of different brands like Coral, Dan Post, Tecovas, Circle G, High Wildcat, I think I saw Tony Lama, right? That's a lot of different brands. Justin Ray, I'm assuming that they have like at least 5-10 different Bed Stew, 5-10 different brands that they're actually carrying on the website. And when you have like different brands that you carry on your store, a sound thing to do is to build pages for those particular brands in order to capture all of the terms for those brands. And what do I mean by that? So if somebody goes into Keywords Explorer and says Tony Lama boots, or like in Google search, and you can see that has like a search volume of 21,000, which is pretty good. So if somebody types this into Google search, right now there is no way that they would end up on Wild Bill Western website. And this is because if we actually look at the search results, they do not have a page for this. And all of the other ones, obviously the branded ones, Tony Lama boots, the actual brand selling these boots, they're gonna be usually number one. But all of the other ones, you know, Russell's and you know, going below, Boot Barn, and all of the other competitors of this particular website, they all have like particular pages for like this keyword, like Tony Lama boots, even though these guys don't even have products for that. If we go maybe into Russell's, maybe they do have. And in here again, I don't know why these guys also have the filtering done wrong. This is not a boot. It's just a ride belt. So in here we can see like they are just below the actual brand, ranking number 4, because we have some people also asking local pack, but essentially ranking number 2 for this particular keyword because they built a page for Tony Lama boots. And that's a big one, right? And we can see that they're getting some traffic, at least some estimation of traffic when it comes to Ahrefs, and I'm pretty sure that they're actually getting a lot of traffic for this. So what could this particular website do? Well, they could build a Tony Lama boots page because they're obviously selling a lot of Tony Lama boots. And I don't even have to do a lot of research to see that, like Tony Lama boot, we can clearly see in the search results, there's 21 products. So why not build that, right? And if I go back in here into actual brand for Tony Lama, we can see that they have a lot of traffic, like organic traffic is over 100,000 a month. I'm assuming a lot of that is gonna be just branded search volume. But what I wanted to show you here is the different product lines that it could build. Like we have Tony Lama boots, we have Tony Lama ostrich boots, women's Python, Tony Lama belt, and so on. And now I'm not sure if they're actually selling anything that's not a boot from this particular brand, but I think, yeah, 54 products, so 30 plus products are not boots, which means they are belts, as we can see here, and some other products. So outside of boots, they could also build like pages for like Tony Lama belts. So if we take one of those, let's say belts, and just look at the search results for those, and these are not necessarily like high volume terms, like this doesn't have too much, but it's also like a lot less competition. So if you're trying to rank for like cowboy boots, that's gonna be very competitive. But if you go over like very niche, like very specialized in like a particular brand and a particular line that has like less traffic and less competition, you're gonna do well. So we can see this particular store, another Western store, only domain rating 16, doesn't seem to have a lot of authority, and they're ranking just below the Tony Lama branded website. And they do because, again, they built a page for Tony Lama belts. So this is super easy and quick win for this particular store, because they could just build collection pages for all of the product lines they're already carrying. So just by putting up all the Tony Lama belts, Tony Lama boots, Tony Lama hats, if they have them, they could be snatching a lot more traffic. And if you multiply this by all of the different brands that they have, like if I go in and look at some of the other ones, I'm likely to see the same things. So I can say Tecoas, for example, and go into HS, type in Tecoas boots, we can see massive search volume of 90,000. Again, mostly dominated by actual Tecoas brand, but just below them is going to be Texas Boot Company, essentially just a competitor to the website that we are analyzing here, which is Wild Bill Western. And why are they ranking for this? Well, they built a Tecoas collection page, which is something that we cannot see on Wild Bill Western. So a pretty easy and quick first win is just to put up all of the branded search pages. For anybody who is typing in, Tecoas boots, Tecoas belts, Tony Lama belts, or all of the other variations of brand plus actual keyword, they have a path to come to your website. Because right now, for Wild Bill Western, so anybody who types in anything brand related plus actual product line, they're never gonna end up on this website, because there is no page to rank for that. And that's like the biggest thing when it comes to growing a Shopify store's SEO. And I keep saying this to the clients is, if you have like 50 different collection pages, like even if you optimize them perfectly and you're like getting a lot of traffic from them, you're gonna be very limited by just having 50 pages. It's like, a good metaphor is like having 50 trees that you planted. No matter how well you take care of those trees, you're very limited by what 50 trees can actually produce in like fruit. And in here, like, again, you're very limited by what traffic you can get by, having only 50 pages. And the immediate thinking is like, what happens if I have 500 pages instead of 50? You have 10 times the odds of actually landing more traffic. Obviously, what has to be applied is that those pages have to be relevant, properly targeted, properly set up in the actual site taxonomy and so on. But the principle stays, you have to build more pages in order to get more traffic, because you're always going to be limited by the number of pages that you have, even if you do your job perfectly. Which kind of brings me up to my next point, is that they're not necessarily doing the perfect job when it comes to keyword targeting. Like just seeing here, like this breakdown is something that I like. Like they have Western boots in here, and then the breakdown by women's, men's, kids. And then if I go into those particular breakdowns here, I'm gonna see the same links again, which is not something I like. You're essentially just multiplying the internal links towards the same pages, also confusing both readers and Google like on what is on these pages, because why are you essentially putting the same links twice, and you're wasting the spots that you could put for some other pages that can actually bring traffic as well. We can also see like cowboy hats, they have like all of these different ones, wool, fur felt, straw, and so on. So if I picked like fur felt, and then I go in here in men's and I pick the same, and in women's and I pick the same, what you're gonna see is that for all of these three choices, like this first one, collection for hats, which is normal, it should be like that. But for men's and women's, it's the same page, collection / for hats, and here collection / for hats. So what this tells us is that they have no way to target anybody who is typing in women's fur hats and men's fur hats, just anybody who types just fur hats. And obviously this is not something that isn't like this is very obvious. You know, you're already breaking this down by men's and women's. So why not just have like a particular page targeting that keyword, because you're already signaling to Google that these are men's and women's fur felt hats, and you're essentially, you know, sending them all to like one page, and that one page is not going to do so well because it's a little bit of a mixed intent, and one page that is about fur felt hats is not likely to rank for both men's, women's, and general terms. So just by fixing all of this stuff that it's already on the page, like, you can do a lot better. I also noticed like Western boots in here. They're using Western and cowboy boots, like Western boots and cowboy boots, like those two different keywords. Like, they're kind of using them. They're treating them the same, even though the search intent is not the same. So somebody typing in Western boots and somebody typing in cowboy boots, you should have two pages for those two keywords, and they're kind of using them the same. So you know, they're saying here Western boots and then cowboy boots, and then if you look at the actual SEO elements, it says Western boots. So it's a little bit of confusing, like what is the keyword they want to go for, which is why they're not really ranking well for anything related to boots. So if I go into here and just open their website again, and let's just look at the top pages and just filter a little bit down to collections. So what you can see here is that the pages that they're actually ranking for are mostly like hats, ties, a little bit of branded. They do have a couple of brands like Bailey hats, not sure how I pronounce this, Blackjack, Ceratelli. So they are going down this line. They might actually know all of this stuff as well that I've just mentioned, but you know, I'm just reading what I'm seeing. And they're not ranking for anything related to like cowboy boots, right? And if I go into keywords and be like cowboy, or even just add, actually maybe that's better, because yeah, 0 pages ranking for cowboy boots, or boots, maybe it's better. 10 pages, that's better. But they do have like Dallas cowboy boots, and then all of these other branded, and they have like men's Western boots ranking for like flashy cowboy boots. Not really ideal, and this is because of the earlier mentioned mix up between like Western and cowboy, and that's the tricky part. And also, like, let's be honest, like cowboy boots, super hard to rank for. We go into that. So let's look cowboy boots. Like, we can see this has insane search volume. That's a lot, which means that, you know, it's pretty competitive, and it's gonna be dominated by like big brands, like, again, the ones they actually carrying, like Aria, Tamalama. We know that they're carrying those. Stetson, I think I also saw they're carrying their boots. But you know, if you're a small website, like Wild Bill Western is still like not like highly authoritative website. Like, the smart thing would be to go and try to rank for something that's less competitive and build like more pages for like particular type of boots. So if you see like cowboy boots as this like one big category, like what would be the subcategories of like cowboy boots that people are also searching for? So for example, that could be something like by color. So it can be like white, red, black cowboy boots or something like that. Or it can be like by size, you know, high knee boots or something like that. It can also be by the type of skin of the actual boot. Because all of those are likely to be less competitive, because everyone is going for like the big terms, and now a lot of Shopify stores are thinking about this strategy where they can build like all of these other things. So let's analyze that, right? If you go into the matching terms report inside of Ahrefs, we can see that cowboy boots is giving us like 42,000 keywords, where either the word, or actually both of the words of cowboy and boots are showing up, which is gonna tell us like all of the different, you know, cowboy boots options they could build. And we can see that they have like red cowboy boots. square toe cowboy boots, Audit, which is the brand, toddler, which they do have, kids, which will be the same, pink, and so on, brown, men, of course, cowboy work boots. Like all of these could be different collection pages that they could build. And obviously I'm not saying that there's 42,000 pages that they could build. Like a lot of these cluster around in the same categories. A lot of them are going to be irrelevant. So I'm just going to say commercial and transactional here, which is going to cut down this list down quite a bit to 12,000. That's like 3-4 times. And again, if you cluster all of these, it's going to be even less, but I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to go through a couple examples just to show you how I would approach this, and also to show you, some of the drawbacks. So what we can see here is, like, as I mentioned, a lot of different colors and types of shoes, but they do not necessarily carry all of that inside of their product line. So you have to be strategic. You can't go and build black cowboy boots if you do not actually sell black cowboy boots. So let's try and see this. So if I go into search, like, they don't have any black cowboy boots, so they're not gonna build a product page for that. But if I go white cowboy boots, I think they also do not have anything. Maybe like, and this could be also tricky, is like they are not necessarily saying like cowboy boots. Maybe they're using a different search term. So if I say white boot, I think I saw some of the white boots when I was browsing. Like, I can see this. I think that could pretty much fit this category, but I'm not necessarily an expert on cowboy boots. I can clearly see this is a white boot, and this one as well. I would say this could be white, although, like, again, I'm not necessarily saying that this is a perfect keyword, but what I want to show you is like the principle of thinking, like how do you actually approach this. So you could also do brown or some other color. Again, I'm just gonna go, just close this up because I always click on the wrong one. Just do brown and boot and see if they're gonna, and also there is an obvious issue here, is that this type of filtering doesn't work well, and this can be fixed. Depends on the type of filtering they're using. Algolia, like, I don't want to see like a jacket, a shirt, or something like that if I'm typing in brown boot. But we can clearly see they do have brown boots. So why are they not building this? Like, if I go into brown cowboy boots as a search term and look at this, like, it doesn't have like little, like, small search volume. Like 5.4 thousand in search volume isn't a small number. That's like every month. And the guys that are ranking, because this is not a branded search terms, like you can absolutely rank number one. We can see this is a competitor of theirs, like Dan Post Boots. They're ranking because, guess what? They have a brown cowboy boots page, and it's simple as that. And again, I'm going back to kind of trying to nail this down to, if you do not have a page for that, there is no path for a user to come. So anybody who wants to buy brown cowboy boots are never gonna end up on Wild Bill Western unless they actually build a page for brown cowboy boots. And it's as simple as that. And there is far more to explore. Just going through this type of list, that you have 12,000, and you can absolutely automate parts of this, and I can show you how. But you're gonna find a lot of potential pages that you could be building. And sometimes it's gonna be most comfortable cowboy boots. Like, why not build a page for this? Because a lot of people are never gonna build a page for this. And if you do, and just list out all of the cowboy boots that you would say are comfortable, you're gonna win. Short cowboy boots, little girl cowboy boots, over the knee, like all these different sizes, or like genders, rhinestone, like I don't know if that's a brand or like a type of boot, but you can also go by type of boot. Like, I saw a lot of like Python boots. Like, I can clearly see they're selling like Python boots, and if I go in here and just say Python boots, like, that has 6.7 thousand monthly searches. That's a lot. And the number one ranking website is again probably a competitor of theirs that's selling exotic Python boots. And they're not even doing this SEO part as well. Like we can clearly see like biod collection inside of the actual name of the page. It's clearly, it's not a high domain rating website either. It doesn't have a lot of authority. Again, domain rating is not necessarily the one to check, but if we are giving this like a quick review, we can see that this is not dominated by any of the big players. So if we're selling Python boots, why not build a page for that and capitalize on all of this traffic? And if I keep going for this list, I'm gonna bet I can find at least 50, if not hundreds of different pages. They could also be like sorry, they can also build like Cayman boots. Again, it's a type of cowboy boot, and they have apparently a lot of these, 14 different ones that probably belong to the Cayman, at least according to the titles, like they don't say Cayman. So if we do the same dance here, instead of Python, we say Cayman boots, 5,200 again. Pretty good, and what you can see here as well, dominated but not big brand names, so you can absolutely like join this fight and win. And we can see that these guys are probably selling similar stuff to them and probably doing the same mistakes, or at least some of the ones. But you can kind of see that if they are only breaking down by boots here, because men and women boots, and then have hats, belts. Okay, so they have like men boots here, and you can see that they're already doing this like exotic, and then alligator, cayman, ostrich, python, and so on. And also like ankle boots, soft toe, steel toe, like those are all different categories that they're building pages for, they're winning that traffic, and Wild Bill Western isn't right now. So I think this is it, already about 30 minutes long, maybe through editing a little bit less, hopefully. I didn't bore you with too many details, but I just wanted to outline you this, I would say obvious strategy of like building more collection pages to capture more search traffic. Right now, I don't know the exact number of collection pages they have, probably around 50. I'm gonna bet they could have at least 50 or 100 more, which gives them, double or 3 times odds to rank it. Unlike for some of these, because they're going for like a big head terms here, if they start going after some of the less competitive keywords, instead of like going for like western boots or cowboy boots, which is nearly impossible to rank for with a store of their size, and they could absolutely in the future, but probably not right now. But they could for all of these other ones that are like less competitive, like subcategories of cowboy boots, like whether that's by color, size, type, skin, and so on. So this is it for this video. I hope you enjoyed it. Again, didn't mean to criticize anybody's work, but yeah, there's also far more to do here other than just building out these collection pages. We can see some of that stuff just in the actual design and structure of these collection pages. Like they don't have any H1s in here. I would say like there's nothing saying here that this is the page for women's western boots, which is bad. Some filtering issues there as well. I also noticed that they have like this particular SEO Shopify issue where they're creating multiple pages when they assign a product to a particular collection. So that's all of the other tech SEO stuff and on-page SEO stuff, which I'm not gonna cover in this video. But yeah, I think if they just focus on fixing all of this keyword research stuff and keyword mapping stuff and figure out all of these different pages that they could build, like they could easily in like a couple of months have like 5 times more traffic, because there's so much more to build, and it's so much more to build on less competitive stuff. So I hope you like this video, and I see you in the next one. Bye bye.